We are going live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. It's the 190th episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Dexter Stuckey.
And Garnett Briscoe is living his best life in Florida. Mm-hmm. And we are back. We had to take a little hiatus because a lot was going on in our lives. We are calling this season shedding season. Everyone is shedding old layers. We're transitioning into new jobs, new marriages, new careers. You know, there's a lot going on. Dexter is married now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, show your bling.
Right. Let's see it. Wow.
Yeah, she did really well with this little ring here.
We got a married man on the podcast. He jumped the broom. How's it feel?
It feels good. I almost feel like I was supposed to always be married. Like I know how people, like, I don't think I did well single, to be honest with you. I mean, I did what I had to do, but like just being married, I just feel different now. I feel like I have a purpose now almost.
Wow, what is your purpose?
So special.
It's just even when we're doing like simple things like going to the grocery store and stuff like that, like I feel like it's not just you're living with and for someone else now, and it's so much more important than just for me than just being by yourself. I get it now when they say like a man is supposed to find a wife, and I don't think women probably feel the exact same way, but I think there's something that kind of unlocks in a man when he gets married that it just feels different.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you. How do I unlock it in me, Dexter?
I think it's something different with women. Like, that's why like in the Bible, when they're like, you know, a man finds a wife and stuff like that, like I get that stuff now. And I used to always be like, well, women can find husbands and other women, but it's just, I don't know. It's something different that like happens when like a man finds a wife, I think.
So up here preaching.
How has your life changed? Is it like you want to give her more? Like, has something changed? I feel like something has changed.
Well, remember, we didn't live together, so that changed.
Right. That's big.
It's like, initially, like, I was never nervous about it. And people were talking to me about it, and I was like, "Damn, should I be nervous?" But it's like the best thing in the world. It's like, and I know this sounds cliche and so corny, but like, it's literally like grade school or college or whatever, when you hang out with your like best friend all day long, and then you guys get to sleep in the same bed with each other and wake up with each other.
I didn't do that in grade school.
Well, you know how like in grade school you have these friends and it's like, oh, I have to go home and I'll see you tomorrow. It's like you don't have to do that anymore. Like you're always with this person, and it's, well, I mean, we're only about 3 days in, so I don't know, but like so far it's good. I love it.
I think though your excitement also comes from the fact that you have not lived together. So it's like, I think because you guys waited to do that, it's like an exciting thing of like, I love you, you're my wife, we're married, and now we live together. Like, I think that's why you have that excitement. It kind of makes me feel like maybe I want to wait, but I'm difficult to live with. So I feel like I gotta try it out first, you know.
Make sure they are with it.
Right. Yes. Because well, I'm happy for you, Dexter. You sound and look so happy. You're glowing.
You're cheesing.
Is the man weaving? Let's see it.
Oh no, I took it out and it looks crazy now. It's giving George Jefferson.
All right, so Dexter is shedding his single life. So what are you shedding, Shana? Because we haven't spoke for like over a week, maybe 2 weeks now, and I feel like there's been a lot of changes in all our lives.
I don't think I had that big of a change in my life over the last 2 weeks. I don't think I had anything.
You got a new job. Yes, you did.
But that's not been in the last 2 weeks. Like, we talked about the new job. The new job is ever evolving and it's changing and it's really good. I mean, now my niece is getting married. That is a new thing. Well, that's not new in the last 2 weeks, but it's like really happening. Like,
and
there's a date set.
Yesterday you posted about your accident, which I didn't know about, and I don't think people know about. So I think you're way more vulnerable now than since I've known you. You're definitely more vulnerable now, and like that was really inspiring reading that yesterday.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I did talk about how last year I was in an accident, and I didn't talk much about it in the accident, and I just was using that as, because we have stuff that does happen in life, and we feel like, why is this happening? Like, why is this accident happening? And it really put me in a better position health-wise. I think it made me think a little bit more about life in a different way. But again, it was like really a blessing in disguise. And then I wound up getting the same car that I wanted with a sunroof and a lower car note. So
hello, won't he?
Yes.
So Shana is on her healthy. That was a scary time. Shana and I had conversations, and it's almost like sometimes when bad stuff happens to you, it's almost like it's a blessing somehow, because Shana would have never found out about this other health situation had she not got into this car accident, and they were doing all these MRIs and CAT scans and stuff like that. And you've like changed your life. So you're shedding too, girl, even if it's not in the last 2 weeks. It's happening. I'm shedding. Yeah. So I got like a new job, but I had the job already. It's kind of weird. But I have a new shift in Philly. For people who are not in Philly, I was already on 100.3. The station's called R&B, and I used to do middays, but then my schedule got shifted and I went to weekends. And now 6-7 months after they moved me to weekends, they moved me back to middays.
And for those who don't know, middays is, for me, from a sales perspective, middays is it's an in-demand like situation. So like this is really big.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So it's 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I'm still on Sirius XM 6 p.m. on. So I'm on
working
air all day. Yeah. So it's funny because my body, I've learned throughout my life that I don't really, how some people get stressed out and they get snappy and they got attitude, and like everybody handles stress differently. I don't get that. And I always thought I never got stressed, right, when I was younger, because I didn't know what stress felt like, right? But now that I'm older, I feel like I carry stress in my body, and I'm like learning that, right? So I might not snap or get headaches or get crazy or however other people manifest stress, but my body starts doing like weird things where that's how I know I'm stressed. Yeah. So I literally feel right now like my body is telling me you're stressed, because I'm trying to adjust back to doing 2 shifts. So I'm in this space where like, it's about self-care. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I add to my life that I don't have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and my body, so that I'm not stressing myself out because I have this thing on my plate. And it's not like it's too much. It's just a shift, and I have to shift my schedule. I have to shift, my sleep patterns and things like that. And obviously when you're changing, that puts stress on your body. So I'm like, since it's pretty brand new, like I've only been doing this shift. Today was my 4th day. My body's still starting to catch up. Like, girl, what are you doing? Right. We was used to sleeping in to like 11. Like, what's happening? So I'm in that state right now where I'm trying to go back to some of the old things that I used to do when I had 2 shifts before, which is like get a massage daily, take baths, like soak in Epsom salt, like little things I used to do to help my body kind of relieve the pressure that I'm under. I'm like back to doing that. So that's what I've been doing this week. So Garnett's actually a whole real estate agent now, like
a
whole one, like showing houses, and he's in Florida living his best life. So good for him. But look, let's hop into what's in our feed. There's a lot that's been going on, especially with like cancel culture and the baby. I feel like the baby saga has kind of been like dragging on forever. And there's this conversation about cancel culture. Like, is it too much? Do people deserve to be canceled? Do they deserve to have another shot? Should it be more like a conversation when people mess up? Or, is cancel culture very much needed? Like, everybody's having different conversations about it, because people are still very much going in on the baby companies and things like that. What are your thoughts on cancel culture?
I think really is all of the above that you just said. I think, yes, do people deserve second chances? Of course they do. I do think, though, that some people need to be evaluated. And I don't know about cancel, but you need to be called out. Like, you do need to be held accountable for your actions. At the end of the day, I feel like the situation with the baby, it was probably, and I feel like this happens in life. There's other things that he's done, and we've talked about on this pod, that I feel like should have really been looked at and evaluated, with him being canceled. And this was like one of those small things. And this is those lessons too, when you be like, karma come back or God go and get them in a way.
Right.
But really, it was like at a show, there was no need for him to even do that. And he did it. And it's like, and it wound up here. But then, you know, like I'm talking to people and they're like, let's not forget when he kicked the girl in the face or when he did this and I'm like, right, there have been so many things that really led to this moment that I feel like people ignored because he was hot. The fact that he actually murdered somebody, regardless of whether they claim it was attempted robbery.
And he raps about it. Like he brags about it.
Right. Like I'm like, so I don't know that this is so bad that there's a larger eye and scope put on him, because I feel like it almost was like building that he was going to get away with so much that he felt that and would keep doing things that would probably, I mean, I don't know what gets worse than like attempted murder. And again, I don't know the details. He claims it was attempted robbery. The victim's family says it's not, but the person is no longer here.
Yeah.
So I just feel like in his case, he needs to be held accountable. And sometimes you do have to be caught off guard by the thing that you didn't think because you're so on your high horse of doing whatever you want to do. But I do feel like there's other people that I want to get canceled that don't be getting canceled and need to be called out on their stuff. And that just don't be happening.
I literally think the last time I was on the show, before we took like some breaks and stuff like that, we talked about the baby and the situation with him not giving the kids the money and stuff like that. And granted, that wasn't as crazy as this, but it's like, consistently this man has been doing crazy things, and it's just like, okay, somebody needs to do or say something. So like, I don't think that people are wrong for this. I do, however, feel like this is given the black squares. Remember when everybody put those black squares out for Black Lives Matter? Like, it's giving me a little bit of that, and I don't like that. like because the baby's been doing crazy stuff before, and we've talked about it here, and we've like called him out on it or whatever. But these corporations and these artists that do music with him, they weren't saying anything. Now all of a sudden, you guys are like, oh well, we can't touch that no more, and it's just like, come on, like it just seems like everybody's like following the leader at this point.
Well, you know what? I said this on air. I said that I do think that cancel culture goes a little bit too far. Like, I think it went too far with the Nick Cannon situation. Like, Nick has never done anything bad in his life. Like, and he does this one thing and he says this one thing. And I felt like, you know, all the companies canceling him, I just felt like that was a little bit too far. But I don't think it's too far with the baby. I have no sympathy for him. You know, and I said this on air. I said, you know, cancel culture can get a little bit deep, but some people need to be called out on it. And if you're going to have this conversation regarding, you know, cancel culture being too much, or, you know, being too aggressive or being too in your face, it can't revolve around the baby. It cannot revolve around this particular situation, because this man literally shows no remorse for what he said, for the people who he's hurt, put up a fake apology and then offended more people, put up another fake apology that written by a PR person and then took it down. Like, this guy needs to be held accountable. And this particular situation has brought out so much homophobia. Like, even in my personal life, some of the men in my life talking about him and comparing him to Lil Nas X, and like the homophobia that people in my life, my friends, my male friends, are exhibiting, because now they feel like it's okay because the baby said something, or he has the right to his opinion, or how is this different from Lil Nas X? Lil Nas X is not preaching stereotypes, like malicious stereotypes, ignorant stereotypes. He's not putting other people down. He's just being free. Yeah, this is different. The baby is putting literally people down, you know, that have HIV, that have AIDS, saying, you know, a negative connotation about people that choose to have sexual intercourse with another man. Like, that's real negative. That is not any comparison to what Lil Nas X is doing. He was like, and one of my friends was like, oh, well, Lil Nas X slid down the pole to twerk on the devil. You don't think that's, you know, a cause to be canceled, or, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if he wants to go to hell and twerk on the devil, that's his prerogative. But he's not telling someone else what is wrong with them and what they're doing in their life.
Yeah. Right. He's in. The thing is, and it's a shame for him to say that, your friend, when he said that, like, he's the first, like, really, really, you know, homosexual artist that's out there like that. So it's like, but you ain't had no problem when Nelly and them was doing tip drill and they was swiping credit cards down girls' butt cracks, but that's okay. But he can't be open about his sexuality. I'm confused.
there was no issue with Nelly swiping the credit card either, though. We're not gonna attack Nelly though. Like that was okay.
No, I'm just saying, like
I'm
you
kidding.
can't if Nelly, and I'm just saying Nelly as an example, but if we let all of the heterosexual rappers or artists be open about their sexuality and do these kind of like wild things at award shows, you can't be mad at the first like openly gay artist for doing the same thing and say that that's similar to what the baby did. That is not even, it's not even the same ballpark.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think there's a comparison either. Like, why are you comparing? Like, why would you ever need to compare the baby to Little Nas X? Like, where they didn't do a song together, they're not the same person. Like, why are you comparing the two of them?
I'm just telling you, the Pandora's box has been opened with some of the males in my life that feel like this is giving them an opportunity to exhibit their homophobia, and I straight up call them out and say, you know, you're homophobic, sir. Right. Like, you okay? It sounds like, and then it's like, oh no, like it's funny when you call someone out on what they, oh no, I'm not homophobic. And I'm like, you just said being gay is wrong. That's very homophobic, sir. Oh no, like when you title it, it's like people get so offended, like, no, that's not me. And it's like, yeah, that's what you just said. So it's like, I feel like he's literally given people the opportunity to be homophobic. And I don't think people are aware that they're being homophobic. And it's like, yeah, I think that people need to understand the severity of what he said. And I think people need to understand, like, if you think what he thinks and say that, understand that that's the kind of response that you're going to get, because that's how seriously offensive it was what he said. Yeah. You know, listen. But I mean, I'm with cancel culture on this. I'm like sitting there watching.
Jackson's account had to come back from the grave and tweet the baby and said, "Shaman, look at the man in the mirror." I knew at that point he had done wrong.
Look, and then he took down the apology. He just keeps digging the hole. Like, and look, my whole thing is, if you feel this way, if you have this hate in your heart for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? Nothing's going to change that, right? Yeah. But when you have the power of the microphone and you're talking to millions and thousands of people, this hatred, it just, you can't say it.
Now, I will say, though, I do wish that he got the Nick Cannon treatment, though. Like, in the sense of when Nick Cannon had his situation, which was wrong, like what he said was wrong to people, like they felt like offended
Jewish by community, yeah.
The Jewish community, yeah. They rallied behind him in a sense and kind of like taught him, like, you're wrong for doing this, and this. I would like, though, for like the gay community to educate him, because I feel like when you get to this point and you're canceling people and you're taking money out of their pocket, I don't think that helps long term with the person changing their ways. Like, he's gonna be homophobic more now because of this. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna.
You gotta be open to that. Like, again, to Mina's situation about Nick and his character, Nick was open to being like, okay, educate me. I don't think the baby is there. Again, he took down his apology that was definitely written by a PR company, because we saw what he did days before. So the person has to be open to that as well.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing with the baby. You know, I mean, I believe in second chances, but you have to be willing to learn and understand that your thought process is wrong. And I don't think he thinks his thought process was wrong. And it was clear in how he tried to, the rhetoric that he tried to use to justify what he said. And then even just the deleting of the post, I mean, that speaks volumes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, many gay and LGBTQIA organizations have said, hey, we're willing to educate you. We're willing to do this. But based off his track record and the things that we've seen him do, we've seen him pistol whip a man. Remember, he beat the promoter up and threw something at him and took his iPhone. You know, the little boys talk about, I'm teaching you a lesson. I think he is a product of, you know, a certain kind of upbringing. And I don't see him being open to this. I don't. And, you know, and to be honest, if he did, I would think it's highly it's fake.
I agree.
I just wouldn't trust it, just because of how long it's taken him to get through this and even just release the correct apology.
Right.
Or days later to take it down.
And also, what's wrong with sucking dick in a parking lot? If somebody wants to give a little in the parking lot, let them do it. Why are you mad at them? Like, what's wrong with you?
I mean, if he was getting head in the parking lot,
That's
he
what I'm
wouldn't
saying.
care.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
what? It's this double standard. Let people do what makes them happy. And like the men that I spoke to are like, but the kids. And I'm like, if your son is gay, he gonna be gay whether you tell him not to be gay or not.
Right.
What is wrong? Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I don't. I was telling my one friend, I said, I played basketball for years of my life. I've been around lesbians so many times. I've seen naked women. Never a day in my life. Just because I've seen naked women, I've seen lesbians. I play basketball with lesbians. You know what I'm saying? Never a day in my life have I been attracted to women. I've never kissed a woman. I've never looked at her and been like, ooh, look at them titties. Like, I don't, because I don't have that in me. Like, I'm not bisexual. I'm not gay. I'm not curious. There's nothing. So it's like me being in that environment with all these gay women that played basketball did nothing for me because that's not in me. That's not who I am. That's not, that's not my sexuality. So it's like, I was trying to tell my one friend, like, I brought I think some people can be curious.
Yeah,
I think that is a real thing, but for you to say curiosity, I think goes in the bisexual field, right? For you to say you're gay, that means you only want the same sex. It's going to take you a long time to get to that place, So when someone comes out and says, I'm gay, that's it. They're gay. They're not bisexual. They're gay. That's it. Like, they've made their decision. They've identified the opposite sex is not appealing to them. That's it. Yeah. So it's like, I don't understand it, and I don't think there's anything wrong in this particular situation with cancel culture. Some people need to feel the wrath so they can understand the pain, and not like they're going to learn. Right. I don't think I'm being very pessimistic, but I don't think he's in a space where he's willing to learn and be educated. No. Right. So, okay, maybe you don't want to learn. Maybe you want to think this way and you want to spread this homophobic rhetoric. That's on you. But understand that if you do it again, this is the backlash that you're going to get. So keep your nasty comments to yourself. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Right.
Sorry. Heard that. You gave it to you. You gave it to it.
I'm just saying. I've been having these conversations. I don't know why people think I'm like the baby 411. All the guys in my life are having these conversations, and they have this homophobia in them, and I don't think they're aware. And like,
I'm glad that you call it out too, because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the things that they're saying sound super homophobic and unfair to me. I'm like, how about if I said that to you?
Because they're used to saying that to their friends. That's why. And their friends are like accepting of it. So it's good that somebody's like, nah, there's a difference.
And look, you want to be homophobic, that's on you, but understand that's what you are. Know, like they Embrace say these crazy things and they say, no, I'm not homophobic. Like what you just said is the epitome of homophobia, sir.
Right.
It's like the racists, like the Karens. Like, Karen, you're being racist, and the second you use the R word, it's almost like it scares them, and it's like, no, I'm not a bad person.
Right? No, you're not. You're just racist, which is bad.
Right.
Not the same.
All right, so we've been talking about shedding our lives, and particularly self-care, and all of that. I found it really interesting that Beyonce has actually really opened up on the cover of Harper's Baazar, talking about her personal life and some of her anxieties. And Beyonce is like perfection, right? So for her to say she has trouble sleeping, is like, what? Beyonce has a problem? Or like she has problems with like inflammation or body aches, and she uses hemp and she wants a hemp farm. And I'm like, what? Beyonce uses hemp? Like, or for her to say like, when she was young, she strained her voice so much that she needed to like rest. Mm-hmm. Like, we've never heard of Beyonce's trials and tribulations, right? So she said in this article, you haven't seen this side of me, or I haven't been open about certain things that I've struggled with because I didn't want to. I don't have to divulge all my life. I give you what I want to give you. I show you what I want to show you. What did you guys think of this article? And does it kind of like, I feel like I've changed how I see Beyonce a little bit from this article. Did that happen for you guys as well?
I don't think it changed it. I appreciated her saying it, but I think after, what was it, the Lemonade album, I felt differently about Beyonce than like, oh, she's showing us like she here with us. So I appreciated it. It didn't change it, but I did appreciate it, especially because I do think so many women and even young artists and other athletes and all these women that look up to her, I think it was almost even more for them than it was for us to be like, they're on this level of stardom and fame and these things and these pressures. And it's like, I go through stuff too. Like, and I think it was also a lesson about kind of how you protect that in that celebrity world, and be careful about what you're putting out there and what you do feed into the public, and feeding only what you want to feed to them. But I was appreciative of her vulnerability, but I love her. So
I like Beyonce, but I'm not afraid to call her out when I think she'd be lying, because she lies a lot. I feel like I don't believe that. Like the Lemonade album, I still think was bullshit. Like I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because if you think about it, think about it with this article. Beyonce is telling you literally, like, I don't like to put my business out there. I can't even tell y'all that I don't go to sleep so far or something, but I'm gonna tell y'all my man cheated on me. Come on. Like,
the elevator incident had happened and it was beyond.
Well, why should you tell you about the elevator incident then? Why should you still explain that?
So you don't want to know about her sleep apnea. You want to learn about the cheat. You want to know about the cheating.
I like to know the truth about what's really going on over there. But like overall, though, reading that article was like, it's kind of like interesting, because I feel like this is with you guys too, to be honest with you. There are certain things that y'all will post, and I think I know y'all pretty well, but there are certain things that y'all will post, specifically you, Shana, yesterday, and I'm like, damn, like this is really opening up. This person is really opening up, and not just to me, but to everybody. And like, I always respect it. I always think it's cool to see people give like an inside look in their life. So like when she did that, I'm like, I love it. I liked it. This is necessary. I just wish that she would kind of do more of it in a sense, because everybody's obsessed with you, but you really give us nothing. Like, and nothing until you got something to promote. And I was like, this is great. Beyonce's just out here talking to Harper's Baazar. She don't got nothing to promote. And Beyonce was like, oh, I'm sorry. My wife was like, I'm about to buy Beyonce's new
Ivy
Park stuff. And I said, she putting out something? She said, yes.
No, but listen, she's been putting out Ivy Park all summer, so it's just another drop. It's not for the drop.
I feel like it's different. I feel like this one's different. She has like the whole rodeo Houston theme.
It is.
I just feel like it's different, and I didn't realize this, but Beyonce's turning 40.
I realized it because I was like, I keep forgetting that she a little bit younger than me.
Y'all are so
in my life. Like I was like, oh wait, for a minute I thought she was older than me. And then I'm like, oh wait, she's a couple months younger than me. And then it made me have to feel sad about my life when she was like, my 30s was about. I'm like, okay, I'm still trying to do that. I'm still trying to catch up there, babe.
I didn't realize
really
Beyonce was turning 40.
You really gonna pretend like Beyonce 39 years old? Y'all gonna do that with a straight face? So Beyonce and Christina are on the same age. Y'all, oh my God.
9481.
You believe that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna start lying about my age too, since y'all believe anything. Like, it ain't no way Beyonce.
So how old do you think Beyonce is?
42. She's 42.
She's 42. 79.
What does it matter if she's 39 versus 42?
You tell me, why does she have to put the different age out there?
Well, she did lie. There ain't no way you can go back now, so it would be too late.
And she might be 45. She might be close to Jay-Z's. Because Jay-Z is like, wait a second, how are we telling people?
No, Jay-Z is close to 50.
Yeah, but how he like, we telling people I'm 50, but you're gonna be 39? Come on. Come on.
Jay-Z is 50.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is 50. You know what's crazy? I was thinking about, I was talking on the radio about Young Miami allegedly dating Diddy. I'm like, he's 50 years old. I cannot put it together. Like, it doesn't work in my head.
Well, for me, Young Miami can do whatever, and she can do no wrong. So if she wants to date a 50-year-old, it's okay. It's cool. It's cool. If she wants to date a 50-year-old, then that's fine. That's cool. That girl can do no wrong. Like, she's perfect.
Oh my God, you like Young Miami? That is hilarious.
And Saweeti'e, they can do no wrong.
She's 27.
It's really young. I mean,
he's 51.
Yeah.
You can teach her
How
a thing
old
or
is
two.
Quincy and Justin? They got to be like her age.
Yeah.
That's not her problem.
I cannot wrap my head around it.
Let's just can't even see the
Oh my God. Quincy is older than Young Miami. He's 30. His son is older than his girlfriend.
Okay. Well, he's not trying to date his son. He's dating somebody.
I mean, men do date younger women. I think I'm just more like, I can't see. I mean, we see pictures of them together, but I'm like, what are their conversations like? And I'm not like, it's just, again, the age difference and the lifestyle. Like Diddy's been in this lifestyle for so, I don't know. It's just that one I did not see coming.
And Diddy's another one. Diddy's like, for me, like he's like my male Young Miami. Diddy can do no wrong. He can do whatever he wants to do, and I will never have an issue with it. I that's my boy. Like no issues. Like you can do whatever you want.
I had an issue with the Lori Harvey. She's younger than Young Miami.
She's fine as hell too. Like, look, have you seen her?
What?
Have you seen her?
I don't know her. I know I haven't seen her.
Well, look at a picture of that woman.
Have I seen a picture?
I don't got no issues with him dating her either. I'm good with it.
Well, the issue was that she had dated his son.
Okay, well, look, like
so they were
the age is the issue. They old. They need to be getting with the older women. Like this is,
these older men do not be trying to check for these women they age. Please,
terrible.
That's why Beyonce got locked by her age because of that.
Well, Beyonce, I believe you're 39. Okay,
you're so happy.
Watch. Beyonce is going to listen to this specific episode and be like, cancel him.
You know, Beyonce finds everything negative and will scrub you off the face of the earth. Okay. Speaking of Saweeti'e, Saweeti'e has her very own McDonald's meal. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's like really big.
Yeah.
Girl, hello. And so it's funny. The only 2 times I've been to McDonald's in the past 2 years is to buy the Travis Scott meal and the Saweeti'e meal. So it's working for me, but I kind of wanted to talk about congratulations to Saweeti'e on the meal, but I feel like supporting these artists is getting really expensive. Like between buying Saweetie's $11 meal and her pretty little thing line and Megan's Fashion Nova swimsuit and all this stuff, you want to support people and oh girl, I'm so happy that you have a McDonald's meal. I want you to thrive,
Right.
Let me go and spend this $11 on your meal. And it's literally a Big Mac, a 4-piece nugget, fries, a Sprite, and a Saweeti'e sauce, a Saweeti'e and sour. That's what you're paying for. But are you guys like that? Do you support these artists or artists that you love? And it's have you bought anything that you're like, why am I buying this to support this person? It doesn't even have to be an artist. It could be someone that you look up to or whatever.
I would say yes and no. So there's times when, I do look if it's a Megan Lou's line. Ivy Park doesn't count because whatever. I'm going to check out every Ivy Park drop. But there's if Megan has a new line with Fashion Over or something, I might check it out, but I don't feel compelled to have to support it. Speaking of which, the City Girls had a line, and I was going on vacation during the time, no smart comment Dex, and they had a line with, I think it was Icon Swim or Mac Collection. I was like, oh, let me check it out. But then I was like, I don't really like none of these swimsuits, so I'm gonna just get this other one. So I don't ever feel compelled to have to support them because I know they already got their money anyway. But I will check it out because I'm just curious and interested, to kind of see, what they have going on.
So my favorite artist is Ashanti, and she doesn't really put out nothing. So it's really easy for me to save my pennies these days. but I do agree that it is very expensive to support these artists. I remember when I really remember this is getting crazy, it was 2013 when Drake came out with the tour. I forgot the name of it, but he did the tour with Miguel and somebody else in Future. And they did it in Newark, New Jersey, the first one. And I realized damn, I got to go to Newark, New Jersey, spend money on a hotel, buy tickets, whatever. And then, but the show was so good. It was worth it. He's worth the money so much. So he came to Philadelphia and I did the same thing again. And it's just if you put out quality music and entertainment and I like you and like you are doing what you got to do, I don't mind putting the money out for you. Like if Drake or Ashanti threw out in the McDonald's meal, I'm going to go buy it because it's like these people are putting the effort in to like keep me invested. So like it sucks that you always have to spend your money, but like what else are you going to spend it on?
I mean, that's a good point, but I just feel like, I mean, I love that our artists are getting these business opportunities, but I just feel like it's like overwhelming. Like I bought Snoop Dogg's wine. You know what I'm saying?
That's just
like,
good though. That's just a good investment. That wine is good. Okay?
I go out of my way to support hip hop, and it's like expensive.
Point, I bought the rosé because I love the red. And I did not like the rosé, and I only bought it to your point because I was like, okay, it's Snoop, and you know I'm a support. But then I was like, I'm gonna just stick with the red 19 crimes, not this rosé.
I support Diddy, and I've supported Diddy since high school. I have purchased colognes, I've purchased liquor, I purchased clothes. I'm invested. I'm good with it. If you supported Diddy in the early 2000s, this is nothing new to you. Like, because he was on top of this game like since the beginning. So like it's. I agree with you, Mina. Like it is crazy when you really sit back and think about it, but at the same time, it's just like. They deserve it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they put the effort out. They have a good quality product. Like we're gonna stick beside it.
Listen, Dex, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I heard through the grapevine, and it's very confidential, that Sean John is going away.
The cologne?
The clothing.
They need to.
I was gonna say probably.
I thought Christian
Sean John.
It's still available online. It's still You're not a real fan. You didn't even know Sean John was available.
I think I stopped wearing Sean John when I got to college, which is 2006. Like I was still wearing the Unforgivable, and I still go on Amazon right now and I buy Unforgivable. What's it, $20? The cologne or whatever. I'll still do that, but I ain't gonna put no Sean John on.
Yep, the website is still on here, but I heard through a little birdie that they're gonna take it off the website as well. But the crazy part is I always thought like Christian Combs was going to continue that legacy because he's very much into fashion. You know, but
maybe he'll revive it at some point.
I don't know, but I just wanted to tell you, Dexter.
Well, I ain't gonna wear no Sean John, so I'm good with that.
But did you buy the baby Boohoo Man collection?
You know, it's because I do be shopping at Boohoo too. Like I've purchased clothes every time I go on vacation. I always go to Boohoo and I always buy clothes from them because they're like cheap clothes that you wear like one time or whatever. Right. But like the baby, it's like this nigga is tacky. Like he really is. What is this? Like,
you know they canceled him. He's not there. Boohoo's not doing nothing with him now.
And they took him all off the website because I just see him on there.
Everything was two-tone, different colors. I'm like, he wouldn't even wear this.
No, he would. Have you seen some of his fits on the red carpet?
He's from the South, right?
Yeah.
North Carolina, I think.
North Carolina.
That explains it.
Do you remember the red carpet look where he was next to his mom? People were saying he was wearing a carpet. I was like, yo.
Not a carpet or the red carpet.
Okay, so getting into our topic, I wanted to talk about this story that I saw online about a landlord getting caught sniffing his tenants' underwear. So I started to think about like landlord issues, you know, like have you ever had a fight with a landlord or problems with your landlord or like physical altercation or caught them doing something shady or nasty? Like I wouldn't even know how to handle if I'm looking at my cameras in my house and my landlord is in my hamper sniffing my dirty drawer, you know, the one that I went to the gym with, so it's extra juicy. Like, ew. I wouldn't even know how to handle that. Like, I think I would sue him for like sexual harassment and like get a protection order. That's disgusting. Like, have you guys ever had an issue with your landlord or sued them or, you know, fought them or anything?
So my landlord right now is my mother, although I pay the mortgage. So I fight with her all the time. But seriously, when we were younger and I didn't really understand the depth and the breadth of it until I got older, and we were living in Nicetown, and we had this landlord, and I heard her talking about it on the phone, and I guess I just didn't really understand the invasion of privacy because I was so young. I was just mad that we were moving away from the area with my friends, and our landlord was having sex at our house. We were not there.
What you mean in your house?
So the reason why my mom figured it out, because again, you know, she would be at work, we'd be at school, and I guess he kind of knew our schedule because it was times we had to come, you know, fix certain stuff or whatever, or let somebody in. And so my mom said she started seeing, because he was married, so we were thinking, I guess she was thinking he was using it as like his other house. She started seeing stains on her comforters.
What?
And so she was like, but, you know, and she was like accusing my sister, like, you know, did you see them from school? Like, because I guess in her mind, like, who would do that? Like, you know, if you grown, why would you leave stain? And then she came home one day and she found a man's drawers in her laundry. And she kind of had to put two and two together in the timing. And again, he kept saying he had to come in and work on stuff. And then that's how she realized, like, yo, this man is using my house and my bedroom and my bed like as a plaything. And she was like, we got to get out of here. Like, we have to move. Like, because if he'll do that, like, he'll do anything.
Nothing to him. Her response to it was, we got to get out of here. Not like I have to shoot him. Like,
I mean, I think it was like she was already like looking to move, but then that was and again, I was so young at the time that I was so selfish, and I think about it now, like, I'm like, well, why I gotta move from my friends? This is not fair because he did that. I mean, I was really young. I was like 10, 11, 12. Like, I was too young to and like, so to Mina's point, one day I actually sat and thought about it, like, yo, that was wild.
Yo, y'all didn't sue him? That's like,
I think she tried to. He tried to,
but no proof.
He basically did kind of admit it because he basically, I think, gave her like, you know, her first, her whatever, and like money because he didn't want her to tell his wife. Because again, he was married. That was like the bigger thing, was he was married and was using this like his little like hotel. Like, I ain't in a hotel. I got a spot. They ain't gonna be there from about 9 to 4 p.m.
Yo, that's wild. I did not expect that.
Yeah, and then I think that again, when she put it together, the other thing was the neighbors had seen him. Because when you ask the neighbors, so it's funny about neighbors, they won't necessarily tell, they won't give up the information. But then when you ask, it's like, I did see him a couple times with a young lady. I'm like, well, why you wasn't saying nothing?
So I thought mine was bad. Like, you know, I have 2 apartments now, and like I'm transitioning out of one of them now. I just couldn't wait to live with my wife. I had to be with her. I couldn't stand that place no more. So like they started to do some real wild stuff the last couple of months. Like they're like, oh, well, you can't get your security deposit back until you pay this. And I'm like, well, that's not in the contract or whatever. And then they're like trying to charge on all these extra fees. And they're telling me I didn't pay this and I didn't pay that. And it's just like, guys, like, I lived here for 5 years. Like, I think you've gotten enough money out of me. Like, we don't need to do this. Let's have a mutual good transition away from each other. And today, the biggest thing today is that they're like, as far as your gas bill, the last one, we have to send it to you. Like, we'll send you what it is and we'll take it out of your deposit. I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. I haven't lived there in over a month at this point. So like,
right.
Why are you taking anything out of my deposit? Like, I'll pay it, whatever it is, but right. I haven't been there. So the bill has to be $3. Like, it is just, it's not as crazy as somebody having sex in my room, but it's just like, I don't get it. Like, why are they so like weird when it comes to like the money aspect of it? Like, it's an apartment. Somebody else is going to rent it out. Like, you'll be fine. Like, you don't
right. But they're probably right now coming out the pandemic. You was probably one of the only people maybe able to pay. And not that it's fair, but they like, oh, listen, we about to lose this paying customer.
Right. He's
we
stable.
got these non-pays up in here. They're taking it out on you.
But the crazy part about it, I stayed there for like 5 years. I was there and like no issues or whatever. Everything was fine. Everything was cool. But it's just like, why is it when you're trying to move forward in life and shed, that's when the issues come about? Like, why? Like, you don't have to do this. Like, it's stupid. And during the pandemic, not one time, my friends were telling me, and they live in like better apartments than I did. And they were like, their complexes are like, oh, you know, we're going to waive this month or whatever. It's half, you know, the pandemic situation or whatever. This apartment You better pay your rent on time.
Wow.
You gonna be out in the street. Like there was no type of leeway or nothing, no communication, just like pay your rent. Pandemic or not, you better pay it. Luckily, I still had a job and whatever, and I didn't have this issue.
Yeah. I actually learned pretty early, like I didn't want to have a landlord. I think that's why I bought like my houses pretty like, you know, like mid-20s, because when I was in college, it was our senior year, and the guy that owned the house that we lived in also owned the daycare next door. So the daycare had burnt down, and like part of the side of the where we lived was damaged, right? So because he had lost that income from the daycare, he tried to tell us that our rent was going up. And I was like, right. And I was, and you know, and at the time he was like, well, the rent is going up the next pay period, which is, you know, like in 3 weeks.
That ain't how we do this.
Right. Wait a minute, in 3 weeks, and you have to pay it. And it wasn't like, it didn't go up like $100. It went up like $300. And you know, my mother's the single mother. So at the time, that's a lot of money. You know, you can't just find $300 out of somewhere in the next 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I was like, well, you know, I'm in college. I'm like, you can't raise the rent like that. Like, he was like, yes, I can, because your lease is expired.
Oh.
So we had never signed, like he had never sent us a new lease, right? But what I learned after this situation was, by law, if you don't have a current lease on file, you're considered month to month.
Yep.
So he could raise the rent in the next month, and then, you know, on the first, he could charge us whatever he wanted, because there's no agreement regarding what he can charge us.
Yeah.
And my mother is so like doo-doo that she didn't like notice that the lease was up. So it or say anything. Right. So we literally, like, I looked into like all these laws. Like, I'm a child. He can't just throw us out on the street in 3 weeks. Like, I'm a child. Like, and I looked it up everywhere, and it was like, everything said like, you would have to litigate this. You would have to squat. You know, like this would take, you know, months and months of litigation and money for litigation. And I was like, it just doesn't make no sense. So we ended up putting all of our stuff in storage. And I lived in college. So all my stuff went from the house, went to storage. And my mother ends up going to live with my aunt for like, I would say maybe 5-6 months. This is during the recession at that, right? Oh, gosh, yeah. Right. The recession in like late 2000 or like 2007-ish, 2008. It was crazy. And I was like, it's so unfortunate how cold some landlords are. Like, they really just don't even care about people. Like, okay, your house, your daycare burnt down, but now we got to bear the brunt of the fact that like you're not making money. Like, bro, you ain't got no insurance.
I was about to say, he ain't had no insurance to take care of that. That sound like his problem. Like, he ain't do his paperwork right.
Hello. But now that I'm an adult, I think that way. Like, you ain't had no insurance, bro. But at the time, I'm like, oh, well, the house burnt down. So now he got to recoup money somewhere. And it was like, that was the craziest thing. I mean, I've had little stupid things like they take your security deposit because there's a stain on a carpet and they change the whole carpet or whatever. But we literally had to move in 3 weeks. Yeah. Like, we got to get out. No, not even 3 weeks. It took me a week to come up with a solution. Like, let's just put our stuff in storage. And then we had like 2 weeks to get our stuff out.
Yeah, I'm fully prepared to have the battle with the security deposit stuff, because for whatever reason, they just don't want to give that back to you. But I guess it's the same way I didn't want to give it to you. I know you don't want to give it back. I gave it to you, so give me my shit back. Like, give me my money back.
Right. I didn't mess up your house. That's what the security deposit is about.
Right.
I didn't mess up your house. I made sure stuff got fixed. Like,
meanwhile, I got one friend who knows all the time he ain't getting his security deposit back. He be tearing houses up. He just already know. Yeah, they gonna keep that.
Yeah, so I listen, this landlord stuff is crazy, and dealing with tenants and everything, and some people are shady as hell. They do not care. I hope none of these people went in my panty drawers though and started sniffing stuff, because that's on another level.
But that, I mean, look, if you want to go through my underwear drawer, my dirty clothes, and you sniff and you get your go for it. I mean, look, like, that's on you. If that's your twist, and that's what you into, do it. Like, do it. Like, have fun with that.
No. You're gonna have to give me some discount off the rent if you're doing that. Like, what? You're gonna have to take $500 off, bro.
Right. To feed your fetish.
Hello.
I'm gonna get something out this deal.
We can really make this a thing. Like, if you want me to send you my gym underwear after I use them, I don't got no issue with that. Like, that's
not
what you
for free though, Dex. You need a discount,
right?
Like, I wear the same ones every day for you if you really want to. Like, we can make this a thing if you want to throw some money into it.
All right, guys. It was so happy to finally talk to you guys. We're back on our regular schedule. Yeah. Shout out to Mama Jones, who was our last guest. She was hilarious.
I heard so much positive feedback about that interview. Mm-hmm. And I meant to text you guys about it, but people were legit texting me about that over and over and over. And they were like, how long have you known her? I was like, well, we just had met her. Mina knows her, but like Shana and I had just met her. They said it was such an easy and like fun interview. And they could tell like she was like so at home with us. And I agree. It was great.
I was gonna say my girlfriends this weekend had like a whole conversation, because sometimes it's like I have one friend I know she always listens to the pod, but when the rest of them were like no, and then when she said, and then Mina said, I was like, oh, everybody really watched the Mama Jones interview.
I really appreciate you for having us a part of it, because like you could have done that by yourself, but that was such an amazing experience to be a part of it.
Well, the thing is, I've been doing radio since I was 18. I've interviewed people by myself already, so it's weird. It's not weird, but when you first get into this craft, you want to do everything alone because you want the shine, you want the accolades, whatever, right? But that's like a very selfish, like immature way of thinking about it. When you've been doing it for so long, like I've interviewed Mama Jones before plenty of times, you know what I'm saying? Like when you've been doing it for so long, since you're literally a teenager, that selfishness that you have to like kind of prove yourself, I don't have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I've interviewed Kanye West. Mm-hmm. I've interviewed Nas. I've interviewed Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. I've interviewed I don't know, Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I've asked Kobe Bryant a question. You know, I've interviewed Mariah Carey. Like, these are the people that Little Kim. Like,
and you've interviewed Ashanti.
I have. It's like I've done the big interviews. You know what I'm saying? Like I've felt like accomplished and vindicated. Like, wow, I did that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have that in me anymore. So my thing is like, let's share. Let's all have a great conversation. Let's laugh. Let's have a good talk. You know, it takes you a while to be in the industry to get to that place. But a lot of people, when they start, they're like more selfish. So for me, it's more like, I've talked to Mama Jones 1,000 times. Like when we talk to her as a group and as friends, it's more meaningful because we're having a conversation. It's not like an interview. When I'm on the radio, I interview people. This is like an outlet. We're shooting the ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You know, we're like Mama Jones. I thought the funniest thing about that interview was like, Mama Jones, what's the fastest that you've ever had sex with someone? And Dexter was like, Mina, that's someone's mama.
But I was going to say, that's the topic of the conversation. Her 6 months, saving the poom poom for 6 months. Everybody's still talking about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to post those clips. I just been crazy because literally like the midday shift was dropped on me. Yeah. And like, it was just like, pow, here you go. But I'm going to post those clips. But yeah, I mean, that was a good interview. And yeah, I mean, it made it even funner that we were all having like a good conversation. And she really was like, thank you so much. Send me clips. And I did send her clips and stuff like that. So she was really happy about it.
Thank you.
So y'all check that out. We're on YouTube and we're on all the streaming platforms: Pandora, Spotify, Apple. I mean, iTunes, not iTunes.
Apple,
Alexa. Yeah, all of that. Okay,
all of them.
all of them. Just Google it. Okay, and we'll be back next week. It's the 190th episode of 190. Good God. Of the Mina's House podcast. By the way, before we wrap, I know we wanted to do something big for the 200. But like the Delta variant is happening right now. So I'm going to try to plan maybe something just virtual, like not anything like live, like we did for the 100th episode, but definitely, you know, planning something for that 200th. Even if it's just virtual, we just have, you know, some of our podcast favorites on and, you know,
that'd be fun.
You know, and we'll have a conversation. So maybe Neef again. I saw Neef for the first time since the pandemic, who was on our 100th episode. And he actually told me, I was like, yo, what's up with the state property and like versus, you know, like, cause they're going on tour with D Block and with Dipset. And I'm like, you guys have enough like records. You should do a state property versus like, maybe it could be like state property and G Unit. And he was like, oh no, they've been having conversations with us. But he was like, but it's a business now. Like before it was like fun. And he was like, it's a business now. So the bag needs to be there. And I was like, all right. So I have a feeling maybe something might happen there. And then we'll have him on the pod to talk about, you know, the versus battle and stuff like that.
Philadelphia would absolutely love that.
Like that would be crazy because you have Beans, Freeway, Neve, Young Chris, like all the catalogs, Petey Crack, like all those guys. You know, that their catalog is real deep. So yeah, so I'll keep you updated. I'll work on that. So if you guys have anybody that you want to put on the pod as well, just, you know, let me know. Okay. And thank you for listening. It's the 190th episode. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Stuckey.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.